of her own magic. For a while confused pictures flitted rapidly to and fro across the vast mirror of the flame, such as might be reflected from an intelligence crowded with the memories of over 2000 years, which it was too exhausted to separate and define. Wild scenes, multitudes of people, great caves, and in them faces, amongst others our own, starting up distorted and enormous to grow tiny in an instant and depart, stark imaginations of forms towering and divine, of things monstrous and inhuman, armies marching, illimitable battlefields and corpses rolled in blood, and hovering over them the spirits of the slain. These pictures died as the others had died, and the fire was blank again. Then the Hesea spoke in a voice, very faint at first, that by slow degrees grew stronger. "Is thy question answered, O Atene?" "I have seen strange sights, Mother, mighty limnings worthy of thy magic, but how know I that they are more than vapours of thine own brain cast upon yonder fire to deceive and mock us?" Note: considered in the light of subsequent revelations vouchsafed to us by Ayesha herself, I am inclined to believe that Atene's shrewd surmise was accurate, and that these fearful pictures, although founded on events that had happened in the past, were in the main vapours cast upon the crater fire, visions raised in our minds to deceive and mock us. LHH. "Listen then," said the Hesea in her weary voice, "to the interpretation of the writing, and cease to trouble me with thy doubts. Many an age ago, but shortly after I began to live this last long life of mine, Isis, the great goddess of Egypt, had her holy house at Behbit near the Nile. It is a ruin now, and Isis has departed from Egypt, though still under the Power that fashioned it and her. She rules the world, for she is Nature's self. Of that shrine a certain man, a Greek, Kallikrates by name, was chief priest, chosen for her service by the favour of the goddess, vowed to her eternally and to her alone, by the dreadful oath that might not be broken without punishment, as eternal. In the flame thou sawest that priest, and here at thy side he stands, reborn to fulfil his destiny and ours. There lived also a daughter of Pharaoh's house, one Amenartas, who cast eyes of love upon this Kallikrates, and wrapping him in her spells, for then as now she practised witcheries, caused him to break his oath and fly with her, as thou sawest written in the flame. Thou, Atene, wast that Amenartas. Lastly, there lived a certain Arabian named Ayesha, a wise and lovely woman, who in the emptiness of her heart and the sorrow of much knowledge had sought refuge in the service of the Universal Mother, thinking there to win the true wisdom which ever fled from her. That Ayesha, as thou sawest also, the goddess visited in a dream, bidding her to follow those faithless ones, and work heaven's vengeance on them, and promising her in reward victory over death upon the earth, and beauty such as had not been known in woman. She followed far. She awaited them where they wandered, guided by a sage named Noot, one who from the beginning had been appointed to her service, and that of another. Thou, O Holly, wast that man. She found the essence in which to bathe is to outlive generations, faiths and empires, saying, I will slay these guilty ones, I will slay them presently as I am commanded. Yet Ayesha slew not, for now their sin was her sin, since she who had never loved came to desire this man. She led them to the place of life, purposing there to clothe him and herself with immortality and let the woman die. But it was not so fated, for then the goddess smote. The life was Ayesha's as had been sworn, but in its first hour, blinded with jealous rage, because he shrank from her unveiled glory to the mortal woman at his side, this Ayesha brought him to his death. and alas, alas, left herself undying. Thus did the angry goddess work woe upon her faithless ministers, giving to the priests swift doom, to the priestess Ayesha long remorse and misery, and to the royal Amenartas jealousy more bitter than life or death, and the fate of unending effort to win back that love which, defying heaven, she had dared to steal, but to be bereft thereof again. Lo, now the ages pass, and at the time appointed, to that undying Ayesha, who whilst awaiting his rebirth from century to century mourned his loss, and did bitter penance for her sins, came back the man, her heart's desire. Then, whilst all went well for her and him, again the goddess smote and robbed her of her reward. Before her lover's living eyes, sunk in utter shame and misery, the beautiful became hideous, the undying seemed to die. Yet, O Kallikrates, I tell thee that she died not. Did not Ayesha swear to thee yonder in the caves of Kôr that she would come again? For even in that awful hour this comfort kissed her soul. Thereafter, Leo Vincey, who art Kallikrates, did not her spirit lead thee in thy sleep and stand with thee upon this very pinnacle, which should be thy beacon light to guide thee back to her? And didst thou not search these many years, not knowing that she companioned thy every step and strove to guard thee in every danger, till at length in the permitted hour thou earnest back to her?" She paused and looked towards Leo as though awaiting his reply. "Of the first part of the tale, except from the writing of the sherd, I know nothing, lady," he said. "Of the rest I, or rather we, know that it is true. Yet I would ask a question, and I pray thee of thy charity let thy answer be swift and short. Thou sayest that in the permitted hour I came back to Ayesha. Where then is Ayesha? Art thou Ayesha? And if so, why is thy voice changed? Why art thou less in stature? Oh, in the name of whatever god thou dost worship, tell me, art thou Ayesha?" "I am Ayesha," she answered solemnly, "that very Ayesha to whom thou didst pledge thyself eternally." She lies," broke in Atene. "I tell thee, husband, for such with her own lips she declares thou art to me, that yonder woman who says that she parted from thee young and beautiful less than 20 years ago, is none other than the aged priestess who for a century at least has borne rule in these halls of Hes. Let her deny it if she can." "Oros," said the Mother, "tell thou the tale of the death of that priestess of whom the Khania speaks." The priest bowed and in his usual calm voice, as though he were narrating some event of every day, said mechanically and in a fashion that carried no conviction to my mind, "18 years ago, on the 4th night of the 1st month of the winter in the year 2333 of the founding of the worship of Hes on this mountain, the priestess of whom the Khania Atene speaks, died of old age in my presence in the 108th year of her rule. 3 hours later we went to lift her from the throne on which she died, to prepare her corpse for burial in this fire according to the ancient custom. Lo, a miracle, for she lived again, the same, yet very changed. Thinking this a work of evil magic, the priests and priestesses of the college rejected her and would have driven her from the throne. Thereon the mountain blazed and thundered, the light from the fiery pillars died, and great terror fell upon the souls of men. Then from the deep darkness above the altar, where stands the statue of the Mother of Men, the voice of the living goddess spoke, saying, 'Accept ye her whom I have set to rule over you, that my judgments and my purpose may be fulfilled.' The voice ceased and the fiery torches burnt again, and we bowed the knee to the new Hesea and named her mother in the ears of all. That is the tale to which hundreds can bear witness." "Thou hearest, Atene," said the Hesea. "Dost thou still doubt?" "Aye," answered the Khania.